Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Israelite Nation Assembly Shabbat class, and we thank you for joining us wherever you may be, in your homes, in your cars, on your way to grandma's, wherever you're at. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. All right. So the title of today's lesson is Celebrating Genocide and Death, or the celebration of genocide and death. All right. Now, many of you Israelites continue to celebrate a holiday that highlights and glorifies the mass killing of millions of Native Americans and so-called blacks in this country. We celebrate the killing of men, women, and children who did nothing other than live peaceably on their own land. And we give honor to those who have enslaved, dehumanized, and have done for the most horrific atrocities to other human beings. They've done this through what was known as chattel slavery and war. Now, regarding the Hellite Day Thanksgiving and its origins, let me read something here. The English settlers, this is in regards to the origins of Thanksgiving. The English settlers found good land to establish Plymouth as quickly as they did because of the smallpox epidemic that wiped out a tribe called the Wapana tribe. This village was established before the so-called Pilgrims or the Separatists arrived in Plymouth, or was known as Plymouth. They had a man named Squanto. He was well known for aiding the Pilgrims and was a member of the tribe that was living in that area. He was captured by the English in 1614, and he was sold into slavery in Spain. So this is for all you Negro-only Israelites that don't believe that the Native Americans went through the same thing we went through. Yes, they went on slave ships. As a matter of fact, they went on slave ships first. Almost 100 years before we was on slave ships, the Native American Indians were on slave ships, going back or being shipped to Europe as slaves. All right? He learned English, Squanto did. He learned English in order to escape, only to return home. He came back to America 5 years later in 1619 to find his entire tribe was dead. It was all wiped out. So he was the only one left of his tribe. The celebration in 1621 did not mark the friendly turning point and did not become an annual event. Relations between the Wampanoag and the settlers deteriorated, leading to what's known as the Pequot War. In 1637, in retaliation for the murder of a man that the settlers believed that the Wampanoags killed, they burned a nearby village, killing as many as 500 men, women, and children. Following the massacre, William Bradford, the governor of Plymouth, wrote that for the next 100 years, and I want y'all to see this, this is where Thanksgiving come from. For the next 100 years, every Thanksgiving Day, ordained by a governor, was in honor of the bloody victory, thanking God that the battle has been won. This man wrote in one of his inaugural speeches that for the next 100 years, every Thanksgiving was giving thanks to God. This is the reason why we have Thanksgiving established in this country today. Giving thanks to God for killing men, women, and children and wiping them totally out. He said, I'm so grateful for this massacre, for killing children. So when I say we're going to dash babies' heads against the stone and they get mad at me for saying that, and you going to eat your dressing and yams and turkey and all that, guess what you giving thanks for? For them babies getting their heads dashed against the stone. With the exception that this was your people. This was your people. See, Thanksgiving ain't about, I'm just going to see Mama. I'm going to Mama's house, Big Mama's house. I love her yams. That's not what Thanksgiving is. Thanksgiving is a celebration of genocide and death. That's what it is. And we have historical proof and records to reflect that. Just say, listen, we're going to thank God for the next 100 years that he allowed us to almost wipe a people off the planet. That's what it's about.
And now give it.
That's what it's about. It's not about, oh, we just being thankful for being here. But why you can't be thankful for being here every day? Why you got to pick this specific day to be thankful for that? Right. But we're going to find out today. Give me Isaiah 29 and... I know they said, oh boy, here go Yaziku. Oh boy. 29 and 9.
Isaiah 29, verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
They are drunk, but they're not drunk with wine. Read.
They stagger.
They're staggering, because we all seen that, and some of us been there before. You know what I'm saying, brother? You know what I'm saying? We've been there before, right? Right. Come on.
They stagger.
They stagger, come on.
But not with strong drink.
But not with this particular staggering is not with strong drink. Right. So what is they drunk off of, and why are they staggering? Because millions of people, our people in particularly, are celebrating a holiday, and they're drunk and staggering. They're staggering into the house, and I don't mean a physical drunk. They can't see what we're saying and what we're talking about, because it sounds like what we're saying is hatred, and we spoiling their fun. No, but you staggering and you drunk. But what are you staggering off of, and what are you drunk off of? Let's get Micah to explain that. Let's go to Micah 2 and start at verse 10. Micah 2 and start at verse 10. Go a precept to help us out a little bit.
Micah 2 and verse 10 reads, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you.
This day is polluted and is going to destroy you. But how and why is it going to destroy you? Read on.
Even with the sword destruction. Mm-hmm. If a man walking in the spirit.
If a man walking in the spirit, read.
And falsehood do lie.
And falsehood do lie. Come on.
Saying. I will prophesy unto thee. Of wine and of strong drink.
Of wine and strong drink. It's lies. Wine here is synonymous with lies. That is what they're drunk off of. The lie of Thanksgiving. It's just bringing a family together. It's the lie that got them tricked and drunk. The lie has got them drunk off this. And what makes them stagger? Come on.
He shall even be the prophet of this people. I will sure.
That was it?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted 11.
All right, that's it.
That's what makes them stagger. The strong drink, the lie, the deception. The deception is what makes you waver. And it tricks you into celebrating the death and the genocide of your own people. Let's go back to Isaiah 29. Read on.
Isaiah 29 verse 10. For the Most High hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
Come on.
And have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seer, hath he covered.
He's covered the seer. So when you have men that come and tell you, listen, this is a lie. When you have women that say, listen, don't do that, sis. Sis, listen, don't do that. That's not true. They can't see you. They can't see that you're prophesying. They can't see that They're covered. You are covered because they can't see it. They're blind to it. They're blind to it. Oh, that ain't trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that. That's what they do. I'm going over there. My mom cooked greens. I'm going over to get me some greens.
Right.
Because I love my mama greens. But they're staggered. They're blind to it. It's a deception to them. Read on.
And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book.
Come on.
That is sealed.
It's sealed. Have no understanding of it. I can't see it. I can't see it. It's sealed. You're blind to it. You can post whatever you want to post. I ain't thinking about that. It's sealed to me. Forget that. I'm going to get them hog maws. Them chitlins. I'm going to get that. Read on.
And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee.
Come on.
And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed.
Read this. I can't understand it. I can't understand. You would think that this is a pretty smart person. This is a pretty smart person here. You should be able to say, hey, listen, read the history on this thing. Look what's going on. It's that I can't. I can't see it. I can't comprehend it. It's sealed to me. Because the prophet, the seer, is covered. Because I'm game. I don't care. I don't care. I've told people before of the origins of Thanksgiving. But they say, I'm doing it anyway. I don't care. I'm doing it for me. It's almost like they wanted to fight me because I said something about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know? But I don't care. I don't want to do it. Listen, I'm doing it for me. I'm going this family. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for me. Right. Okay. All right, read.
And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned.
I'm not learned. I don't understand that. I'm not learned. I don't have my comprehension is not very well. I don't understand that. But this is the reason why you don't understand it. Not that that person is ignorant or they can't read. Not learn mean I don't comprehend it. I don't grasp it. And the reason why you can't grasp or learn it or discern it is because of this. Give me a precept. Psalms 111 and 10. Psalms 111 and 10. I think we're gonna go back to Isaiah when I get down. Yeah, we are. So let's go to Psalms 111 and 10. And then we're gonna go to Isaiah 65 and 11. No, we're gonna finish that out, verse 13.
Psalms 111 and 10 reads, the fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom.
What is the beginning of wisdom?
The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom.
The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. Most of these people don't fear Yah. They do not fear Yah. And this is how I know they don't fear Yah. Read.
A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
A good understanding comes from the people who keeps his commandments. If you are keeping his commandments, this book will open up to you. It will become unsealed for you. And even though you're unlearned, meaning your comprehension of the Bible is not very strong, you will become stronger in it. Long as you're keeping the commandments. And Keefer did something the other day. Keefer did something the other day. I didn't say nothing to him, I think he realized it, but he didn't really go in detail about it. You know what I'm saying? We were just talking. You know what I'm saying? I think you might have been here too. We was all just talking and stuff. Then he just started quoting scriptures. But before, he was like, I can't never quote no scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you know what I'm saying? But he just was quoting them like, boom, he was quoting them. And then I think he surprised himself. He caught himself like, oh, dang. I pulled that out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Because been keeping the commandments. It'll just happen. Boom, all of a sudden, it'll happen. You been keeping the commandments, you be figuring out, why I can't? Because a lot of people tell me that. They can't pull scriptures out. I know the scripture, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? I know it, but I can't pull it out. But see, he did it. He did it. I ain't saying nothing about it. but I see it's progress. It's a progressive walk. He's progressing because keeping the commandments. And the good understanding comes to all they that keep his commandments. And was able to break the scripture down. He quoted it and broke the scripture down. I ain't saying nothing. I just sat there like, okay, there it is. Isaiah 65 and 11. So, you know what I'm saying? I was telling your story, my fault. Isaiah 65 and 11. Oh, no, let's go back to 13. I'm sorry. Isaiah 29 and 13.
Isaiah 29 and 13. Wherefore the Most High said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
That describes Thanksgiving 100%. Read it again. That describes Thanksgiving 100%. Read it.
Isaiah 29 and 13. Wherefore the Most High said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth.
With their mouth. Oh, I'm so thankful to God. They don't say Yah. They say, I'm so thankful to God. And they have long prayers. I remember when I was a kid, man, I used to hate for Uncle Allen to pray. He'd be praying, the food be cold. He'd be praying so long. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Allen prayed all. Please don't. I'd be saying, please don't let Uncle Allen pray. He'd pray and he'd be humming and praying. He'd take you from 1863 on up to 1983. Goodness. Be still calling people names that ain't living no more and everything. He was old, you know. So, let's read it again.
Isaiah 29 and 13.
Yeah.
Wherefore the Most High said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me.
Their heart is far from Yah. Come on.
And their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
Who talked to them about Thanksgiving? Because that's not a Yah ordained holiday. The precepts of men taught them about Thanksgiving. The precept of men taught them that. Because that didn't come from Yah. We just read to you how the governor Bradford said the next 100 years we're gonna be celebrating this thing. And then Lincoln comes in 1860 in the midst of the civil rights, the Civil War in the 1860s, and he makes it a national holiday. Further implementing the precept of men, implementing this holiday into our history, into American history. Was that all of that, 13? Let's go to 65, Isaiah 65. And 11, yes, sir.
You want 12 too?
I want 11 through 14.
All right. Isaiah chapter 65, verses 11.
Watch this. See, Isaiah, this is why they call him the eagle-eye prophet, because he can see so vividly, clear into the future. Watch what he says. Come on.
Verses 11 through 14 reads, but ye are they that forsake the Most High.
Read.
That forgot my holy mountain.
How did they forget it? Come on.
That prepare a table for that troop.
Read it again.
That prepare a table for that troop. And that furnish the drink offering unto that number.
You know you sacrifice to devils every time you keep Thanksgiving. Read it again, because I want y'all to get it, verse 11.
But ye are they that forsake the Most High.
You forsake the Most High.
That forgot my holy mountain.
And you forgot Yah's laws, statutes, and commandments in Israel. Come on.
That prepare a table for that troop.
What table are you preparing? Thanksgiving table. That's what you prepare. A meal, a feast for the devil, because this feast is not for Yah. This feast is for the devil. So if you're not feasting for Yah, you feasting, who you feasting for? You feasting for the devil. You prepared a table for that. What? Read it.
You prepare a table for that troop.
Who was the troop? The United States Army. That's the troop you preparing it for. Come on, in celebration of what they did to the Native Americans and blacks in this country. Read.
And that furnished the drink offering until that number.
And furnished the drink offering until that number. You're sacrificing the devils. You're offering to devils. Read.
Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not.
You rather choose in what Yah did not delight. Spam or something? When we talked, we talked about something earlier. Give me Isaiah 30 and 10. Probably somebody watching me live right now on the call on my phone.
Isaiah 30 and 10.
Don't make sense, man. You know I don't talk to nobody on spot. Isaiah 30 and
Isaiah 30 and 10. Which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets prophesy.
Start at verse 9. Isaiah 30 and 9.
Isaiah 39 and 10. That this is a rebellious people.
This is a rebellious people, you Israelites.
Lying children.
The Bible's rough on us all the time. Lying children, come on.
Children that will not hear the law of the Most High.
You're not going to hear this law. You're not going to hear us say Thanksgiving is a feast for the wicked. You're not going to hear us say that. Because you're lying, rebellious children. Come on.
Which say to the seers, see not.
See not. And say to the seers, the people that see, whose eyes are open, who are learned, the ones who I comprehend, you're going to say, please don't see that. I don't want to hear that no more. Please don't see that. Come on.
And to the prophets.
And to the prophets what?
Prophesy not unto us right things.
Don't tell us the right thing. Come on.
Speak unto us smooth things.
Say nice, smooth things to us.
Prophesy deceits.
Prophesy what?
Deceits.
Prophesy lies to us. Give us that strong drink to keep us delusional.
That's what they say too. They really say that.
Give us strong drink. Keep us blind to the truth. We don't want to hear that. They stop their ears. Nope, I don't want to hear that. Nope, I don't want to hear that. Keep us blind to it. Because I love Thanksgiving. I love it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I don't see nothing in the world wrong with it. 77 million Native Americans murdered, killed, men, women, and children in this country, on this continent alone. 77 million. You don't see nothing wrong with that? And the leaders in this country has said we're going to keep celebrating it because that's a good thing. It started off. It kicked us off. We started off murdering 500 of them. We're going to keep it going. There was 77 million Native Americans and countless of blacks enslaved and murdered. Over 100 million so-called African Americans. But you want to celebrate a holiday with this wicked, almost wicked country? That's what you want to do? But anytime somebody say, come to the new moon, you say, I don't do that. Come to the Passover. Passover? What? I ain't doing that. This in the Bible. He said keep the feast. I ain't doing that. 7 great feasts we got. 12 new moons we got. Don't nobody party like Israelites. Trust. Y'all gave it to us. We're going to party at least 2-3 times a month.
Right.
Sometimes back to back. And days on end. We got 7-day feasts, 8-day feasts. Nobody party like us. But you want Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, all giving glory and praise to demonic spirits and demons. And Halloween, it's for the kids. The celebration of spirits and demons. But we can't get you to come to Passover. Can't get you to do that. It costs too much. You can say that when you spend $100 on macaroni for Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, prophesy to us smooth things. We 2 Timothy 4 and 3. No, first go to Isaiah 5 and 20. Then we go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy 4 and 3, but right 3 and 4. But now I want to go to Isaiah 5 and 20.
Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil.
Woe unto them that call Thanksgiving good when it's actually evil. What did it say?
Woe unto them that call evil good.
Woe unto me. Woe means destruction. It means sorrow. Sorrow is them that calls this evil, wicked holiday good. It's a good thing. No, it's not. It's evil and wicked as hell. That's all the 20? Come on.
Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light.
That put darkness for light.
And light for darkness.
And light for darkness.
That put bitter for sweet.
That put bitter for sweet.
And sweet for bitter.
And sweet for bitter. You turn that thing all the way upside down. I'm not going to Passover, but I celebrate Thanksgiving. I ain't doing dedication, but I sure love Christmas. I ain't going to the Feast of Booths.
It's too cold.
I ain't going to the Feast of Booths. I ain't going to Tabernacle. But I will do Thanksgiving. But I will do Thanksgiving. That is calling sweet. That is calling sweet bitter and bitter sweet. That's calling light dark and dark light. You done turn this thing upside down. He gave us commandments where we can do all of the trust. We got all that. We got Purim. We got dedication. We got unleavened bread. We got Passover. We got tabernacle. We got atonement.
And they missing out on that unleavened bread.
Yeah.
That's what they talking about, man.
Yes.
Right.
They missing out on that.
Well, we got beautiful feast days. Beautiful feast days. All right. Where we at? What was that?
21. Isaiah 5 and 21.
Okay, let me get 2 Timothy 4, 3 through 4. Yeah.
2 Timothy chapters 4, verses 3 and 4 reads, For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears.
Teachers having itching ears.
And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned into fables.
Read it again.
And they shall turn away their ears from the
They're
truth.
going to turn their ears away from the truth. Come on.
And shall be turned into fables.
And shall be turned into fables.
Yeah, that's it.
Shall be turned into fables. Like fables meaning lies. Like Thanksgiving is good. And what you saying is bad. Man, them people make me sick. They always wear them the phrase on their bodies and be talking stuff all the time. Phrase.
Phrase.
A lady told me that. I walked into the store. She was like, "You got on phrase." I said, "I do." She was like, I said, "Oh, fringes." She said, "Yeah, fringe. Is that what it's called?" I said, "Yeah, that's what it's called."
Phrase. I never heard that. That's new.
Yeah. So that's what we want to do. We got some articles we want to read right quick. I was going to go back to Isaiah, but I'll save it. We want to go to some articles because it's a lot. We should have got Keith some water because he got some reading to do. So this is what we want to do. We want to start off by reiterating, because every so often we need to hear these events. Things that has happened in the past, and we need to know you need to stop celebrating what your enemy has done to you. So we're going to read a couple of things of what's went on in the past in this country, and we want to see if you really want to be celebrating this stuff. All right? Because sometimes you don't know. You don't know. They have watered down our captivity so much. They have watered down slavery so much to the point well, it might not have been that bad. You know? It might not have been that. You know?
That's how they act.
I'm serious. That's how people do. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it might not have been, you know. I even met one brother one time. He told me, man, I'm glad they got us. Because we'll still be over there without no toilets right now. I said, I can't believe that he just said that.
That's when you lack knowledge yourself.
You think they didn't have toilets over there? What's wrong with you? Right. So you just think people just swinging in trees with big bones in their nose and stuff like that, right? Ooga, ooga, ooga. Like, what was that cartoon? They used to, ooga, ooga. It was the most racist cartoon in the world. It was
Captain Caveman?
No, it was Warner Brothers, the Warner Brothers cartoon. He used to be on there with Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes. He ooga, 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 ooga.
Oh, I do remember him. I don't know what his name was. They must have got rid of him.
And he had a big pink lip that was flapping around like this.
Yeah, I remember.
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible, man. It was racist as hell, man. It still is. All right. The Black Wall Street Massacre. We want to go through a couple things.
Black Wall Street Massacre. On June 1st, 1921, white rioters looted and burned the black area of Tulsa, Oklahoma, known as Black Wall Street. Angry at the economic success of blacks in the area.
Why was they angry?
The area became known as...
Why was they angry? At the economic success.
At the economic success of blacks. The area became known as Black Wall Street because the number of successful businesses and wealthy black inhabitants. White Tulsans accused a black man of raping a girl and attacked the area.
They always think somebody want they women. They always think somebody want that Neanderthal looking thing. They always think that.
While white citizens used dynamite and planes to bomb the city, leaving more than 8,000 people homeless.
More than how many?
8,000 people homeless.
8,000 people. Listen, this was war. This wasn't just a rape. A few little crosses burning. No. They wouldn't get planes and everything. This was war. This was war on the people that was just going about their business, not doing nothing. And people was angry because these black folks who was just working with one another, being together with one another, had their own money. They had banks, houses, cars, cleaners, businesses, stores, restaurants, everything. Come on.
Eyewitness accounts charge that the vast majority of the people killed, estimates range from 80 to 300, died because the city's law enforcement officers deputized every able-bodied white man and handed out weapons from the city's armory.
Goodness.
Historian Scott Greensworth describes it this way. Shortly after the fighting had broken out at the courthouse, a large number of whites, many of whom had only a little while earlier been members of the would-be lynch mob, gathered outside of the police headquarters on 2nd Street. There, perhaps as many as 500 white men and boys were sworn in by police officers as special deputies. Some were provided with badges or ribbons indicating their new status. Many, it appears, also were given specific instructions. According to Laurel G. Buck, a white bricklayer who was sworn in as one of these special deputies, a police officer bluntly told him to get a gun and get a nigger. Shortly thereafter, whites began breaking into downtown sporting goods stores, pawn shops, and hardware stores, stealing or borrowing, as some would later claim, guns and ammunition. A Tulsa police officer helped to dole out the guns that were taken from his store. More bloodshed soon followed. as whites began gunning down any African Americans that they discovered downtown. There is no official death toll, but most historians agree that the count was around 250 because many African Americans were buried in mass graves while others fled the city. No one was ever convicted of a single crime.
No one was ever convicted of a single crime. So they just got away with demolishing a whole town, burnt it down to the ground, killed most of the people there, the ones that couldn't get away. The ones that couldn't get away, they killed, and the others fled. All because you was like, look at what them niggas got over there. Why should them niggas have that over there? Trust and believe. This spirit haven't left them people. The same people. The same people. All right, let's talk about this one. It's called the Bloody Island Massacre.
The Bloody Island Massacre. In the mid-1800s, Charles Stone and Andre Kelsey began enslaving the Native American Pomo of Clear Lake, California. They forced the Pomo to bring them their daughters for sexual pleasure.
They forced them to rape their daughters. That's what they did.
They killed the Pomo for trying to escape. They only paid them 4 cups of wheat per day. One day, 2 of the Pomo, Shuck and Aces, went to look for more food, borrowing Stone and Kelsey's horses. When it became apparent that they wouldn't find food, the men knew that Stone and Kelsey would kill them if they found out that they had used their horses. So they killed Stone and Kelsey instead. Captain Nathaniel Lyon was searching for the men to punish them and brought soldiers and white civilians. When they found members of the Pomo tribe hiding on Bloody Island near Clear Lake, they slaughtered 60 of the island's 400 inhabitants. On their way back, they killed another 75 on the Russia River for good measure. Lyon was never disciplined. You want to go to Colfax Massacre?
Yeah, Colfax. This is the Colfax Massacre. We're just going through the different massacres that has happened in this country to show and prove that this mindset has never changed. It has always been there. And as you celebrating a holiday, it is giving thanks for the massacre of people. This is what you're celebrating. Come on.
The Colfax Massacre. On April 13th, 1873, black people in Colfax, Louisiana, began gathering at the courthouse and digging trenches. They were afraid of what that.
We back up? All right.
The Colfax Massacre. On April 13th, 1873, black people in Colfax, Louisiana, began gathering at the courthouse and digging trenches. They were afraid that whites, disgruntled by Republican rule and a courthouse decision that allowed blacks to vote, were about to attack. A civilian militia of angry white men surrounded the courthouse and convinced the blacks to hand in their weapons and surrender. The black citizens complied, and that's when the massacre started. As many as 40 times more blacks were killed than whites. They invaded the courthouse and killed unarmed men. They hunted down women and children trying to hide in the surrounding woods. They dumped bodies in the river. They took 50 prisoners, but later summarily killed them one by one.
That's sick.
Historian Eric Foner called it the bloodiest single instance of racial carnage in the Reconstruction era. At least 150 black citizens were killed. Three white men died. No one was ever convicted of a crime.
No one was ever convicted of a crime. Let's get that Zechariah 11:5 right quick. We're still going back to this. So I just want to get that scripture right quick.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Zechariah chapter 11 verse 5 reads, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
They hold themselves not guilty.
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord. For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
And your own shepherds pity you not. Your pastor's not going to tell you that Thanksgiving is wrong. He want to come over and get the big piece of chicken. You know how they used to let pastors come to your house for dinner? They had them sit at the head of the table too. and give them the big piece of chicken. Tell them to bless the house. Oh, Pastor, bless my house. Bless my house, Pastor. Because he wants a big piece of chicken. All right, the next one.
The Thibodeau Massacre. In 1887, nearly 100,000 black sugar plantation workers in Thibodeau, Louisiana, decided to protest their unfair treatment, low wages, and the holding of workers' wages until the end of the season, forcing them into a kind of indentured servitude.
So back into slavery. That's what it was.
In response, Judge Taylor Beatty, who owned a sugar plantation, declared martial law and paid a 300-man private militia to keep the peace.
Wow.
The militia ordered every black person in the city.
He couldn't give them their money, but he paid the militia. Wow, come on.
The militia ordered every black person in the city to show a pass or leave. The blacks who didn't were rounded up with their families and executed. In all, between 35 and 100 blacks were killed. The count is not official because some bodies were burned. No one was ever, do I have to keep saying this? No one was ever brought to justice.
No one was ever brought to justice at all.
The Elaine Massacre.
This is the Elaine Massacre. So y'all keep on with these holidays. This is what you celebrating right here. This is what you celebrate.
The Elaine Massacre. In 1919, black sharecroppers gathered outside of Elaine, Arkansas, to listen to Robert L. Hill explain how sharecropping was unfair to advocate for voting rights. The meeting was guarded by Union troops, but when white men showed up at the meeting, shots were exchanged. The sheriff then called for a posse to find the people responsible. 500 to 1,000 white men rushed in from across the country to hunt down the killers and quell the so-called Negro insurrection. When it was over, 237 black people were dead.
237 black people were dead.
Then all white juries charged and sentenced 12 blacks to death. Another 36 pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and 67 were convicted of other crimes.
Watch this.
3 white people died.
3 white people died. All of that mass murder, jail time, sentenced to death. It's only 3 white people that died in the exchange. But they came over and started with them. It just so happened that the blacks had guns. They came in shooting at them. They shot back. 3 white people got killed. Then the massacre ensued.
Because they defended themselves.
Because they defended themselves. But again, this is the same people that's giving thanks. The same people that want you to get upset because you won't kneel because a song or a pledge or a flag is going up. The same flag that enslaved you, mind you. Because, people get mad at the Dixie flag, but it was more people enslaved under the American flag than under the Dixie flag. That's right. They get mad because you won't sing a song about, what is the national anthem?
Right.
The national anthem. The ridicules and degrades black people in this country. Same people. Where we at?
We will not count out.
Yep, that's what we want.
We will not count the 1864 Fort Pillow Massacre in Tennessee, when Confederate troops mowed down 164 black soldiers who were surrendering, because that is officially a war crime. Fort Pillow Massacre, April 12, 1864. On the morning of April 12th, forces estimated at 1,500 to 2,500 troops quickly surrounded the fort when the force commander, Union Major Lionel Booth, was killed by a Confederate sniper's bullet. The second in command, Major William Bradford, took control. By 3:30 p.m., force demanded surrender from the Union troops. Bradford, hoping for reinforcements from Union's from Union's boats arriving by the Mississippi River called for a 1-hour ceasefire. Forrest, however, spotted Union boats approaching and sent men to block the possible reinforcements. Then he declared his troops would storm the fort in 20 minutes, which they did, meeting little meaningful resistance. While Major Bradford fled toward the Mississippi, most of the Union garrison surrendered, and thus should have been taken as prisoners of war. But Confederate and Union witness accounts attest that some 300 soldiers were gunned down by the Confederate forces, the majority of them black. The Confederate refusal to treat the soldiers as traditional POWs infuriated the North and led to the Union's refusal to participate in prisoner exchanges. Union survivors' accounts, later supported by the federal investigation, concluded that African American troops were massacred by Forrest's men after surrendering. Southern accounts disputed these findings. Forrest himself claimed that he and his troops had done nothing wrong and that the Union men were killed because Bradford had refused to surrender. Controversy over the battle continues today.
Yeah, so he killed all of those people. They surrendered. All of those black men surrendered in the war, and they said, we don't care about them surrender. They killed them anyway.
The same goes for the 1864 Saltville Massacre in Virginia,
which y'all can look up because I didn't put that information down.
You want to do this one?
Yeah, well, just I think this is the last one.
The Auchinleck Massacre of Native Americans in California in 1854 doesn't count either because they were killed for their land. So technically, that is a robbery. The Auchinleck Massacre was an 1854 massacre of more than 65 Tolowa people by European American settlers at the village of Auchinleck. Tolowa Esheley Lake Earl in Klamath County in the years between 1845 and 1855. Many Easterners and immigrants had migrated to California in the climactic years of the gold rush. The village developed as a huge shipping and trade center. The Anglo people were also eager to acquire land occupied by the Tolowa. This led to a very brutal encounter between the two groups. An Indian was suspected of stealing the horse of a white man. In response, armed whites hid in the brush near the village at night, agreeing not to shoot until the Tolowa left the dwelling in the morning. At daybreak, the whites fired as soon as someone emerged into the village, and then the men, women, and children of the village were shot down as fast as the whites could reload their guns. Some Tolowa tried to escape into Lake Earl. Armed whites pursued them, shooting whenever the Tolowa showed above the waterline. The attackers reported killing 65 Indians, but this tally did not include victims whose bodies sank into the lake. After the attack,
so they drowned.
After the attack, the settlers renamed the village as Payway, after Old Payway, on the few Tolowa survivors. Some say as many as 150 were killed in Rosewood, Florida, in 1923, but the official count is 6.
No, I don't believe that official count being 6. I believe it's closer to the 150 because that was a town, and it was 3 days of fighting that was going on.
The mass deaths at Philadelphia's MOVE headquarters.
Move on. Remember that? Move on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
MOVE headquarters in 1985 don't make this list because law enforcement officers bombed the men, women, and children living there.
This is fairly recent in 1985. We're on.
And the time whites nearly wiped out the Wyatts, Native American tribe, in 1860 doesn't belong on this list because the Wyatts were killed with knives and hatchets as well as guns.
All right, give me Leviticus 26 and 25. So these are just some of the events that happen in this country. Some of the events. And it's much, 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 much more. Trust and believe.
Leviticus 26:25 reads, "And I will bring a sword upon you,
And he did.
that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when ye are gathered together within your cities, I will send the pestilence among you, and ye shall be delivered unto the hand of the enemy."
And we were. And we are delivered into the hands of our enemy. So what is it that we must do? We got to change our heart, our minds, our spirits. We have to come out of these Helli days. We have to start keeping practicing and rehearsing the feast. I want that scripture. Is that Judges 5 and 11? Judges 5 and 11? Rehearsing the righteous act.
You got it out?
Judges 5 and 11.
I get it.
Yeah.
Judges 5 and 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the place of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Most High go down to the gates.
That's it. So we must rehearse the righteous acts here. Here. We must keep his feast here. Here. We must practice them here. All of these new moons, we must do it here. It is enough for us to do it here. He has already brought a sword against us. And that sword is the white man. Put him against us. And he overcame us. He's done that. And we have countless of stories where we read this historical accounts of the white man coming against us. Northern and Southern Kingdom. Give me that. Jeremiah 3 and 18. That's why I went from Native American events to African American, so-called African American events. That's why I went back and forth. There is no difference. We're the same people. We're the same people.
Jeremiah 3 and 18 read, "In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel."
Read that part again.
In those days.
In those days being the last days, come on.
The house of Judah.
The house of Judah, Southern Kingdom.
Shall walk with the house of Israel.
The house of Israel, Northern Kingdom, come on.
And they shall come together out of the land of the north.
So we shall do what?
And they shall come together out of the land of the north.
We shall both together come out of the land of North America, come on.
To the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
So there you have it. Right there. There you have it. Both Northern and Southern Kingdom of Life are both here in North America. We're almost done. Give me Habakkuk 2.
Doing what?
Start at verse 3.
Habakkuk 2, verse 3. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
Come on.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
The man that does these atrocities to a people, his soul is not upright in him. Read.
But the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine."
Do y'all understand what wine is now?
Lies.
He transgressed by wine. He transgressed by the lies that he tell. Come on.
"He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home,
He in everybody's business and everybody's land.
who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be
He
satisfied."
can never be satisfied. The white man in this country can never be satisfied. He want more and more land. He want more and more gold. He want more and more oil. He want more and more diamonds. He want more and more wealth. He can never be satisfied. He want to heap all kinds of people up to himself. Why? Because he likes to hide himself among people. Because everybody would know if he didn't. That's the devil. Everybody would know. So much so that people running around telling me, "I think I got white people in my family." Because we always had curly hair. No. No, you don't have white people. We have always been a people with good hair. Woolly hair is not that kinky stuff y'all think it is. No, woolly hair is good. Have you ever seen wool hair? Wool hair is curls all through wool. Yeah. That's the best hair. Wool hair. You know?
It don't get light.
Why the hell would your host will have that?
Yeah. Wool hair is beautiful. It's beautiful. You know? Now when you're a Hamite, that's something else. They don't even need barbershops over there. Their hair don't even grow. It grows so tight. Be so tight to their scalp. You know? Alright, where we at?
Habakkuk 2 and 5.
Okay, read on.
Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home.
You don't stay at home in everybody's land.
Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied.
Never be satisfied.
But gathereth unto him all nations.
You want everybody.
Back up.
Back up. All right. Brother Calvin, if you're watching, I'm going to call you when I get done, brother. Because if you're watching, I'm going to call you when I get done. I'm live right now.
Habakkuk 2 and 5. Again. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
All people. Read verse 6.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him?
Come on.
And say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Woe unto him that increases that which is not. America wasn't his, but he increased it, did he not? It's not his, but he increased it. Come on.
How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
Lading himself with thick clay means riches. He took all this wealth and gathered it to himself. Thick clay is the wealth of all the other nations. Come on.
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
Read it again.
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
Now we always say that the scripture can have dual meanings. Now we used to use this particular verse to show how America has enemies that's lived right in the midst of her. And they're going to rise up and bite them, meaning terrorism, right? But we also can use this scripture to reflect the Israelite. Read it again. Watch this.
Habakkuk 2 and 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
Watch this. Come on.
And awake.
And do what?
And awake.
And a what?
Awake.
And awake. And awake to this truth. Come on.
That shall vex thee.
This shall do what?
Vex thee.
We're going to get on their dang on nerve because they know the truth. And they got the answers. And now they has awakened. They has awakened. Now you got brothers like me on the internet. Now you got brothers like y'all read on the internet. Now we breaking down scripture. Now we telling y'all to come out of them holidays. You got sisters on there putting their good memes up and stuff. Come out of that. Don't do that. Turn from that. You got brothers and sisters all on the internet. And the internet goes all over the world. Helping waking our people up. We waking up. We in America vexing them. Will we not wake up and bite them and vex them? We not going out on Thanksgiving spending all that money on Thanksgiving. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that for Christmas. We ain't doing that. We not doing that. We're going to save our money. We're going to build our nation. That's what they hate. That's why they hate this truth so bad. Because the truth is saying you need to think about being not only working for somebody, but being an entrepreneur. Get your own business. You need to sit back and think of ways of how you can make money with your people, like they did with Black Wall Street. We talking about right after, not too long after slavery, 1921. They didn't even have the Civil Rights Act yet. That these people would have their own community with their own stores, churches, hospitals, educational centers. They had colleges. Do you realize that it was more black colleges built during the Reconstruction era than it is now? We don't have no black schools, college, universities built now. But they built them in 1900. Universities. It don't take nothing. See, we lost heart with one another, and we don't trust one another, and that's part of the problem. You can take a building right here on Grand River and start a university. Y'all didn't know that? You can go and get a building right here.
What's the name of his?
You can go get a building right here and start a university. It don't take, you don't need hundreds of thousands of people to start a university. Just need a few excellent people to have a university. So, but we don't think in terms like that. We want to go give the white man $65,000 damn dollars for them to give us a piece of paper, and then turn around for them to give us a hard time about getting a job. We don't think about it in terms of start our own university. Why not? We had highly educated people, this so-called African Americans. Highly educated. As a matter of fact, you got people that's so intelligent they don't have degrees. They don't even have degrees, but they so smart, it's ridiculous. Just something to think about. Where we at?
Habakkuk 7.
Habakkuk 7?
Yeah.
All right, let's get that.
Habakkuk 2 and 7. Mm-hmm. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, mm-hmm. and awake that shall vex thee, mm-hmm. and thou shalt be for booties unto them.
And thou shalt be for booties unto them, meaning they're going to be treasures to us. This has happened before. Let's get that in Exodus, where it happened before, where they became booties before, when we were enslaved. We're going to get the history on that, Exodus 12 and 35. Exodus 12 and 35.
Exodus 12 and 35 reads, And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed off the Egyptians.
They did what?
They borrowed off the Egyptians.
We borrowed off the Egyptians.
Jewels of silver and jewels of gold.
We took the silver. We took the gold.
And raiment.
And what?
And raiment.
And raiment. Come on.
And the Most High gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians.
And He gave us favor in the sight of the Egyptians. This is going to happen again. He gave us favor in the sight of the Egyptians. What happened?
So that they lent unto them such things as they required. And they spoiled the Egyptians.
And we did what?
They spoiled the Egyptians.
We took their stuff. We didn't give it back. They spoiled the Egyptians. They just handed it to us. We said, oh, I like that gold right there. Can I have that right there? And the Most High gave it back. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead. I love this black guy. Go ahead. Take that. And the Israelites spoiled the Egyptians. I mean, we took it without a fight. And ain't give it back. This is when we left. We took it and then we left. We borrowed it and we didn't pay it back. The hell is an Egyptian to an Israelite but a dog? See, here in Israelite Nation, we are equal opportunity offenders. I don't care if you black or white, we will offend you. Is a Hamite you a dog? If you're an Edomite, you're a dog. It makes no difference to us. You're not an Israelite. All right. All right, let me get, go back to Go back to, where was we at? Go back to Habakkuk. Let's go back to Habakkuk. The chapter was, what was it? Habakkuk 2? Habakkuk 2, and then
7 and 8.
yeah, we was around 7, but I want you to drop down to drop down to 11.
Habakkuk 2 and 11. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establishes a city by iniquity.
Woe unto him. Plymouth was built by a city of blood. All of these towns across America were built by a city of blood.
Wow.
And you go, and they've been thanking their God for building their city by blood. Read it again.
Habakkuk 2 and 12.
Started for 11.
Habakkuk 2 verse 11. For the stone shall cry out of the wall.
A stone is going to cry out of the wall that you built. Come on.
And the beam out of the timber shall answer it.
And the beam is going to answer the stone. Come on.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
You built this town with blood. Come on.
And established a city by iniquity.
And you established this city by iniquity. But Yah says something when the people that does this, Yah says something. There's a law against this. Give me Genesis 9 and chapter 9, verse 5. Start at verse 5. On 5 and 6. This is a law against what we're reading here.
Genesis 9 and 5 reads, and surely your blood, your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it.
Come on.
And at the hand of man.
At the hand of man.
At the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man.
So read on.
Whosoever sheddeth man's blood.
Whosoever sheddeth man's blood.
By man shall his blood be shed.
By man shall his blood be shed. So when we talk about beasts right here, go back to verse 5.
And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require. At the hand of
every beast he'll require the blood. Let's hold that, Brother Ira. Let's get the precept. Ecclesiastes 3 and 18. Ecclesiastes 3 and 18. Let's see what that beast is.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 18. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that Yah might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
That they are beasts. The sons of men are called beasts as well. The sons of men are called beasts as well. Let's go back to Genesis 9 and 5. Since we know that, let's go back to Genesis 5 and 9.
9 and 5.
9 and 5, yeah.
And it reads, and surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require.
At the hand of beasts, it's not talking about animals, it's talking about men.
And at the hand of man. At the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whosoever sheddeth man's blood.
If you shed a man's blood, which they did to the Pequots and to the Wapas and to every other so-called Native American tribe and all of the so-called African Americans in this country, which they did, come on.
By man shall his blood be shed.
By man shall his blood be shed. Give me Revelations 9 and y'all know what I want. The sword. Revelations 9.
And what?
And Revelations 10 and 9. Or 13 and 9, I'm sorry. Revelations 13 and 9.
Revelations 13 verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Verse 10.
He that leadeth into captivity
which the white man did, come on.
Shall go into captivity.
He's going into captivity, and what else?
He that killeth with the sword.
He killed by the sword.
Must be killed with the sword.
He's going to die by the sword. The same law applied here, the law we just read in Genesis 9 and 5.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. I know you're going to get him back, y'all. And I can't wait. And it's going to be done by The sword. He shed the blood of our people. His blood must be shed. Period, point blank. I say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, give me that's last one. Let's get
Numbers.
Ezekiel. You want Ezekiel? You want numbers?
Numbers 35, 33.
You want that one?
Yeah, brother priest.
All right, let's get it. 35, 33.
All right, Numbers 35 and 33 reads, So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defiled the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it.
That was a good one.
By the blood of him that shed it. Hallelujah. And we're going to end it right there. We're going to end it right there. All right. So with that being said, we say hallelujah. We hope something you can glean from the lesson and you can learn from the lesson. And let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. If you're thinking about celebrating these holidays, either directly or indirectly, then you need to think again. You need to think again. All right? That being said, we say hallelujah. Until we see you next week, remember to like, share, follow Israelite Nation's Facebook page, and also subscribe to our YouTube page. We got to build that page up, get our likes up, and things like that. If you like us, hit the like button. It don't cost you nothing to hit a like button. It costs you not a thing. All right? So that being said, we say hallelujah. Until next week. Shalom.